because they stopped loading, if you remember.
Yes, I do know. Do you know why?
No.
No.
Because they were showing up on Facebook, but they weren't showing up on the live, which was really frustrating. So, is anybody out there? Is anybody watching?
Is anybody out there?
I'm not sure if I'm live, you know. I'm live. Elephant diet, overwhelming thoughts, yeah. Can you check on your phone?
Huh?
Can anybody see me? Oh, we got someone. We are live.
Who have we got?
We have Helen.
Can they see us?
Yes, they can. We have a wave emoji.
Oh, fantastic.
So, hello. We'll wait for a few others because I'm a bit later than usual. One thing I'm excited about is that my logo is just there.
Oh, in the screen?
On the screen, yeah.
Oh, very good.
So that's a new development. Right, just hanging around here to see if there's more people coming on because I've been a little bit late in posting this because of the exciting thing that we have tomorrow, which I'm really looking forward to. I mentioned it yesterday, I think, that tomorrow we have got Hannah joining us, who's going to be talking about, in more detail and more depth, grief, because she's actually trained in it.
What is she trained in?
She is a therapist. So yes, hello John. So I think, can I type in here? I can also type in here. Hello. Does that come up anywhere? Ooh. Right. I'm in. So today, I had a request this morning about what we could talk about, and one of the things that is coming up for a few people is overwhelming thoughts, which I kind of touched upon in different videos, in different kind of ways as well. But we'll be, oh, hello Dion, and looking at overwhelming thoughts and what we can do about it, because we're not doing a lot, but the minds are very much firing off on all cylinders at the moment. And so I'm going to try and hopefully look at some techniques that we can use, or not necessarily techniques that we can use, but an awareness and understanding as to why that works. Hello. So do you want to join on your phone, or do you want to join sat down?
It's up to you. What would you like?
Let's let this, I don't mind. It's whatever's easiest for you.
I am in the same room as you.
Go on then.
I'll do it. I'll make you a cup of tea.
Oh, go on then. Thank you very much.
I feel it's a bit more, chilled.
A bit more chilled than a cup of tea. Hello, Craig. I'm using this new software. So apologies if I stop missing comments and things like that, but I'm going to do my best for you. But we're looking today at overwhelming thoughts and what we can do about them. So a little bit of context with overwhelming thoughts, and something that I've kind of talked about in the past, is your thoughts and your what your mind does. It's all automatic. So there's nothing we can actually do to physically make ourselves stop thinking. So as much as I can control my fingers and I can move them and I can keep them still and I can do whatever I want, physically, my actions, my thoughts are completely out of my control. And that is something that's really difficult for some people to comprehend. Those that have overwhelming anxiety or clinical anxiety and things like that, those thoughts are always there, and there's a worry attached to it as well. Now, there might not be worry attached to the thoughts that you're having at the moment, but they might just be completely firing off on all different cylinders, and that's causing exhaustion, for want of another word, because you can't switch it off and you just want to rest easy. I know that there's lots of people on social media talking at the moment about how little they're sleeping, and about the sleep they are having is completely full of vivid dreams. And I don't know what the link is, but it's that thing of we're still having broken patterns.
Do you know why? Because we're not out and about in the world. Our brains are not stimulated that much at the moment.
Yeah, and that's probably what it is. Like we're having to generate our own sights and sounds. And in fact, Tom has just asked, is Abby co-presenting?
Correct.
He's just tuned in.
Correct, Tom.
Abigail is co-presenting, and she'll be joining us very shortly.
Thank you.
She's just making me a cup of tea
I've
because
just
I'm very
given
lucky.
some worldly wise information, Tom.
I think he heard that.
Oh, good.
So our thoughts are just happening. So we have this wonderful brain inside our bodies. They let us do whatever it is that we're capable of doing. The problem with it is that we are either in control of it, where we take over some different bits and pieces, or there's going to be, thank you very much, or there's times where we don't take any control of it whatsoever, and that's the autopilot. Kind of most of what we do is done on the autopilot, and it allows us to drive
Good
to
evening.
Abigail to any new watches.
I know you're probably thinking, oh my God, who's this beautiful lady right here? Do you know what it is? It's makeup.
She actually had.
And I washed my hair.
You actually washed your hair today as well.
It's serious. Changed my top, washed my hair, put my face on.
There you go. Look, Welton was going to go, but now you're here.
Woo!
Thank goodness
Beautiful ladies in
that
the room.
Abigail is here.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Carry on.
So a lot of things that we do are on the autopilot. And when they're on the autopilot, we don't need to think about them, because if I thought about every single thing that I did in the entire world, I'd be worried about how I pick up that mug, how I'm sitting on here, how I've worked out how to use the computer, which definitely wasn't the fastest boiling kettle ever. True. So comments are down there or they're here. I've got them in,
Oh,
in
I was
two
going to say,
places.
what are you talking about?
Yeah,
Right, okay. Hi, Liz.
I'm interacting.
Okay, sorry. Thank you.
And with the autopilot being on, it allows us to get on with everything that we do. We can walk places, we can drive to places, we can read. There's so much that we can do whilst we're on the autopilot. Breathing is a physical action that's also part of the autopilot.
Good for stress.
Good for stress. And I'll be talking.
In through the nose, out through the mouth. Oh. I was doing it with my daughter last night, actually, because she was a little bit overwhelmed last night, actually, wasn't she?
She very much was, yes.
She said she felt different, and it was very strange. She said, let's do a little bit of breathing.
I completely agree. John is asking if he should have made a cup of tea. You can if you want.
I think it just makes it a bit more relaxed.
It does.
Sit down, have a cup of tea, have a little chat with us.
Just
like this morning in the afternoon.
That's what this is.
Charles.
Mum's
Hello,
here.
Mom.
Hello, Mom. So breathing's very important. You were doing that with Lou last night because she's feeling different. And I know that sentiment is shared by a lot of people at the moment, where they just feel different. And I was just talking to Hannah, ready for tomorrow.
Therapist. She's a therapist.
Therapist.
People who've just logged in.
Yeah, people are just logged in. And people are feeling different because of this weird situation that we're in, and the fact that there is no end. There is no end to it at the moment. And breathing can really help that. But whilst we're in this situation, our minds are still firing off on all cylinders, saying, well, there must be a threat, or what am I going to do about money, or what if I'm worrying about, what else could you worry about in these situations?
Relationships.
Relationships.
They could be being really tested right now.
Yes, very much.
I'm glad
so.
I don't have a partner right now. I'm not a very patient person.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah. Probably I don't have a boyfriend. Hey ho.
Hey ho. And with those.
Thank you, Liz.
Right, now this is what happened yesterday. So it fills up and then it doesn't go anywhere.
Oh.
So look, we've already lost it, I think. No, we haven't. No, it's fine. It's fine. Ignore me. And so there's lots of things being tested at the moment, but the thought is firing off on many different cylinders. So I'm just trying to find a way that I can click on this.
Okay.
So in our everyday lives, when we wake up in the morning, we have our routine and we go to work, and then there's childcare, and then there's making tea, and then there's watching your telly, and then there's going to bed. All of those different things have different stimulus, so we're able to interact with the world around us. So any thoughts that we do have, they're very quiet, because we've got to focus and we've got to drive and we know what we're aiming for. Whereas in these situations, we don't have an aim other than
sit on your bed. What's the time?
Yeah, it's nearly 6:30.
I am working.
What now? And that's what people's kind of downfalls are at the moment, is that they are there's no distraction. There is no, oh, I'm just going to pop over there and have a chat with someone. Oh, I'll just nip to the office kitchen and have a biscuit or whatever. We're stuck in our own homes, which we know extremely, extremely well. And that's going to cause a problem if all you're doing is sat down. So I haven't very much left this place most of the day.
Tom doesn't often leave this place.
No. So
We go for a walk.
no, that's true. But I mean, like this chair.
Yeah,
today,
no, I know.
but I've been busy today. But if I wasn't busy and I sit down at the same place and I have a cup of tea and then I sit in the other same place, if my mind was firing all over the place, that could cause some distress, for want of a better phrase. And the autopilot doesn't need to do anything at the moment, so we're very aware of every little thing that we're doing, which can often make the time feel really, really slow.
Or we become numb.
Yeah.
And actually completely lose motivation and thought.
Completely apathetic.
Just sit in front of the TV watching movies.
Yeah, and just wind the way down.
Stagnating.
Yeah.
Do you know what? That's why I put makeup on today. Because I thought I need to put my face on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just needed to do it. But do you feel better for it?
I felt loads better. I'm
Yeah.
washing my hair, shave my legs.
Ooh.
I know. I was like I was going to a party.
A walk around town.
Yeah.
But when you have these overwhelming thoughts, and it's not necessarily one overwhelming thought either. It might not be a massive thing that's causing the issue. It might be lots of tiny digits that are just bouncing around and just tapping around you. So it might not be one such thing. It could be lots of different things, just constantly machine gun in your brain. And there's kind of different ways that you can deal with these. And the simple one is a 3-minute breathing exercise, which sounds like what you did with Tallulah last night without necessarily knowing what it was.
Correct.
And you've probably seen different apps. So I know that Liz uses the Calm app, and there's Headspace, and I know that there's other things that people can use. There's on Twitter at the moment, there's people just sharing randomly a post of a flat line that becomes a square and it folds up. And it's like, time your breath with this. And it's usually an anxiety reducing measure, but it works for thoughts as well, because it's not necessarily the breath itself that you're focusing on. It's not, yes, I can breathe, I can take conscious control of that. It's what am I feeling around that breath? So when you're taking that breath, you've got all these thoughts going on, but all you're focusing on is the air around your nostril and the rising of your chest. And if you breathe down into your belly, the rising of it on your belly. And you're really paying attention to, are there any smells in the air? Is one of your nostrils blocked? Does it make a noise when it goes in and out of your mouth and of your teeth? Is there a cooling?
Oh well, Mum's just turned to alcohol, which is just wonderful. Mum, we're not at the AA meeting tonight, okay? Come on, another night.
Drink responsibly. This is definitely just tea.
Coffee.
Oh, a bit late for coffee. Isn't it?
Don't care.
Not going
I'm
anywhere.
a rebel. I'm a rebel.
So when you're breathing, or if you're feeling that these tapping sensations or this big bolt of thing is happening to you and you can't shake it, a lot of people try and force that thought away, and they're like, get away from me. I don't want to be thinking about you anymore, or all of you anymore. And there's an analogy in ACT that's been used to do with quicksand. And if we're feeling something that we don't want to feel, or having a thought that we don't want to have, it's very natural for us to want to be like, get away, and we start trying to force it away, and we really use all of our muscles and we try and throw it away. Whereas if you're in quicksand, so the thought being the quicksand, and you thrash about and you try and get out of it, you start sinking. And the best thing to do with quicksand is actually to stop, is to just be very calm, very still. You might not be able to get out yourself, but you're going to stop yourself from falling further and further down. And another great metaphor is that someone usually needs to help you. And if you are feeling that there's an overwhelm, and that there's and that you've got these taps and these big thoughts, reaching out and actually talking to someone about what you're feeling.
Talking is so important.
Yeah, that's what's going to drag you out of the.
I think I would
quicksand.
go insane if I didn't talk.
I think you would.
Tom
as well.
is my listener, aren't you, Tom?
Yes, I am.
I like to talk.
So reaching out and, like in the metaphor, to drag yourself out of the quicksand, or just telling someone that you are either, just on WhatsApp or whatever, however you talk to people, and saying, I'm frustrated about this. or what are your thoughts on this, and try and open it up into a conversation, it might make the thought that little bit smaller, because the other person might respond and say, oh, I know exactly what you mean.
Well, it's that classic little saying, isn't it? A thought shared is a thought halved.
Classic.
A problem.
Problem shared.
That's the one.
That's the one. We got there. But it's true, and we carry so much weight in our thoughts, and they really drag us down, they tense us up, and that's not helpful for anyone. So what 3-minute breathing space allows you to do is it allows you to think, right, I'm going to allow these thoughts to be here, and I'm going to just focus on the tiny elements of what's going on.
Giving an examples.
Old manager used to tell me to ride the wave of emotion and fight it. Your old manager is very, very correct. Urge surfing is something that I'll probably talk about in the future as well. With most emotions and most things that happen, they swell up and they pass. So that's where the surfing analogy comes from, is that we have all these thoughts, all these urges, we get really frustrated with it. It's the wave building up and then it crashes.
Mum's got a good one too. Obviously, there's lots of anxiety at the moment around COVID-19 and things like that. Hello, Tallulah.
Yeah.
And turn off social media, turn off the news for an hour or so. It could be a good bit of advice for you there, Mum, actually. You've got little tidbits on COVID-19 on the hour every hour.
Definitely. And I think most of the posts that I've shared on Twitter and Instagram that have got about coping with the situation we're in at the moment is limit your media consumption, because all they're doing is feeding those thoughts, and it's giving it fuel, which it doesn't need, because in your particular situation, you're probably not as affected by what's going on in the media as it might be. And that sounds very selfish, because it is. To put it bluntly, we need to think about ourselves when we're in our situations.
And well, Liz's situation is she's lonely at home right now, which is awful. And thank God for the powers of FaceTime, WhatsApp.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're, it feels like a million miles away, but the connection through FaceTime, things like that, is just so important.
Yeah. And one thing which I've been saying for the last 2 or 3 weeks now, well, certainly 2 weeks, is reach out to people, even if it's clunky. And I've been saying that more for people who are concerned about people that they fear may be isolated, but actually it's just as applicable for you as the individual. Reach out to someone, even if you don't necessarily want to or feel uncomfortable doing it. It'll lighten that load.
I've had a few friend requests recently, actually, from people I thought, oh, hello, who are you? But I guess they're bored and my name's propped up.
I don't think it's boring.
And I'm sure they'll get a bit of entertainment as well out of it. But if that amuses them in the day, then that's great.
That's true. Yeah. And it gives people talking points, going back to this whole thing about our lives are so small and narrow at the moment that using Facebook allows us to open up where we are, which we need for our creativity and things like that. And going back to the 3-minute breathing space and having these thoughts so narrowly placed down on what you're feeling, the aim is not relaxation. The aim is not to rid yourself of those thoughts. The aim is to literally breathe and be aware of all of the senses. But when you do that, you're allowing those thoughts to live, but they're not here. You're breathing and then they're up here. I need to keep my hands in shot to really make this.
Oh, that's a bit rude.
Oh, right, there you go. Right,
hi.
Abs. So,
Hi.
Abs, so you've got a distressing thought right now.
Yeah, I can't get past it.
You can't
like
get
a big
past
hand
it.
in my face.
Yeah, she's got a big hand in her face.
This is too much.
And this is known as the clipboard example. So if Abigail was fighting against this, so if you were pushing,
What am I doing?
You're
Oh my
pushing,
God.
you're pushing,
Oh my God.
you're pushing
Get this
against my
fall out
hand.
my head.
But
Yeah.
if she's pushing against my hand, she's using all that energy in her arm to try and sort it out. Whereas what you can do is allow these thoughts to still exist, but you just put them on your lap.
Oh, hello.
So you still got them.
You can also write them down.
Yeah, like
That would help.
you keep them.
Get a notepad on your lap.
Yeah, get a notepad and you have those thoughts and you just put them on your lap. So you still have them, but now you're seeing and you're not forcing that away from you, which is really, really important. And the
Sit with it.
Sit with it. And the breathing space allows you to sit with it and to focus so intently on other things that are going on that they can just be there and not cause too much of an issue. where was I going to go next? What that allows you to do, you've got all these thoughts going on, and there's a lot of people say that being on, being aware of your thoughts. Stop covering her beautiful face.
Thank you very much.
I stopped there. I've stopped.
Makeup's making wonders.
Yeah, you should have seen it the other day.
Yeah, I look like a bag of SHIT. So I can't swear. Can I swear?
Probably not.
My shows would probably be a bit of a later show, I expect.
We'll do the late show with you.
Yeah,
okay.
we'll have to.
But a lot of people talk about their overwhelming thoughts, and they're like a stage play. So you've got all of this going on a theatre in front of you, and it's not just one stage play. So we were lucky we got to see Harry Potter a couple of weeks ago. But it's not just Harry Potter. It's also Starlight Express, and it's Phantom of the Opera, and it's also Dear Evan Hansen, because I shared that song the other day. You've got all of these plays going on at the same time on the same stage. Now,
that is too much.
That is too much. And we make the mistake of thinking that we should be on that stage with them. But we're not on the stage.
I'd love
with
to
them.
be. It's so much
Oh,
fun.
don't get me wrong. I too would be there.
saying.
Have you ever felt? But we're not on the
I think Starlight Express. You must confess. Are you there? Yes or no? Starlight Express. sorry. Kaya.
There you go. I should have sang another song over the top of it, just to show how
That
bad it was. Damn.
Sorry.
Next
Sorry,
time.
we digress.
We
Sorry.
digress. So we've got all of these different musicals going on stage at the same time, and when they're in our head and when they feel like they're right there in front of us, that feels really overwhelming. And we convince ourselves as the person seeing these thoughts that we should be on the stage with them. But a really clear distinction with thoughts is that we are not our thoughts. So if you're having thoughts that you really want to cause bodily harm to anyone that you're stuck in a house with, that's fine.
Well, we've heard about the man who pushed his wife down the stairs.
Yeah.
This is a fact. He called the police himself to say he'd pushed his wife down the stairs and said, "Please take me away. I can't live with her anymore."
I can't live with her anymore.
During this isolation period.
Yeah.
So he got removed.
Yeah. So that
too much.
So he had a thought, and then he followed it through. So he's a bad person.
No, before he killed her, he thought, I'll just throw her down the stairs.
That's true. So he saved their lives.
Yeah.
But having different thoughts and having thoughts about maybe if you've got childcare responsibilities and you're thinking you're letting your children down because you're still working, and there's lots of different, and there's so many facets to all of our lives. Possible musical intro to the live show. Ooh.
Oh, bless you, John.
We'll wheel her out. So wheel her out for the first 2 minutes.
Welcome.
So we're on stage. We've got all these different songs going on. That's not where I was. Where was I? Yes. And we might have all these thoughts about I'm not good enough at that. I should be doing baking like everybody else is doing. I should be looking at doing better schoolwork for my children. I should be better in work, even though I don't know how Microsoft Teams works yet. All of these things are going to they're going to cause issues, and then we convince ourselves that these thoughts are real. So we've jumped on the stage, and it's all going on around us, and it's overwhelming. However, we are not our thoughts. Our thoughts are something that happens to us. So we are actually in the audience watching that stage, watching that
surreal
stage show.
Stuff right there.
It's crazy.
It's not an LSD either, by the way.
No, it's you. We're more powerful than LSD.
Right. Fuck.
There's a lot of love for singing at the moment.
Mum, sit down.
Well, it was John as well.
John made one comment and that was fine. Mum just keeps going.
Yeah. So if you're sat in the auditorium and you're watching all of these different stage plays going on with your favorite titles, including I'm a bad mum, I'm rubbish at my job, I'm sick of what my partner keeps saying to me, I'm like all of these different thoughts that are going on, they are just thoughts that you're having. Let them be on the stage. And the equivalent of the 3-minute breathing space is that you've got this whole stage taking place, but what you're doing is you're focusing on a tiny, tiny bit of it. So you've got this whole stage going on, but you're zooming in on one aspect of all of those stage plays. And that in essence is mindfulness. So that's a real key, like clear distinction that I can't labor on you enough, is that
we can control our thoughts.
We can't control our thoughts.
Well, we can control how we feel and things like that.
But we can control what we focus on.
Yeah,
is the key thing, because the thoughts are gonna. It's a distinction I need to make with you, because I can see you rolling your eyes.
Yeah, I know. I did it on purpose.
So what we
we've not been living together for 2 weeks.
That's not 2 weeks yet, is it?
No. You know what I mean.
I do know what you mean, but it's very clear that I make this clear for everyone out there, is that it's because the thoughts are going to happen. They're automatic.
Yeah.
So it's the focus. It's the uber laser focus.
It's how you deal with them.
Yes, and focusing on one such aspect is a real key part of letting those overwhelming thoughts happen, because they're going to anyway, but really drawing your attention down to something really, really small. And that's the key aspect. And when I saw the stage play analogy, I was like, oh, that works. But I've kind of taken it one step further now, and particularly because we're stuck in our homes. But it's not necessarily the theatre anymore, but it's your television. And when you really want to get rid of these thoughts, and you're trying to, I don't want to think of that one anymore, I don't want to think about it, that's the equivalent of having a remote that doesn't work. But you're chained to the chair.
That's annoying. And
you're there just tapping it. It's like, turn off. I need to turn off this channel. I don't like it. Whereas try and focus on something that you do like on that screen. And as I say, it could be as small.
Good point, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
I'll be pushing him. I'm a big girl to push down the stairs.
But you're also very short.
Yeah, I'm just like
just roll down.
Yeah.
So when you've got a TV remote and you're stuck on a channel and you're trying to really get rid of it, put the remote down. Similar to this example earlier, just put it down, put the remote down, and focus on one aspect of the screen that you really enjoy. It doesn't have to be the content, doesn't have to be the sound of the screen, it doesn't have to be what's being portrayed on the screen. You just need to enjoy one aspect of it. So that's kind of the key takeaway. Use your breath as a way that when you're feeling overwhelmed and you're having all of these thoughts, whether it's one big thought that just won't shift and it's too heavy to shove out of the way, or it's lots of like Chinese water torture, it's just a constant drip of lots of different things. Use your breath to stop focusing on what it is that's causing you issues, and use it to recenter you, because those thoughts are probably thoughts that have been generated from the past, or they're things that you're worried about in the future, that uncertainty about the future. And what the breath allows you to do is to remember that you're here now, and that's what matters. So the television screen is showing you all sorts of information. Most of it's made up. Most of it has zero basis. In fact, it's nothing. It's meaningless until you give it action. And even if that action is trying to force it away, you're legitimizing thoughts that don't mean anything. They're just nothing. They are just bubbles. So we can take that away from it by focusing on our breath and being like, I am here right now.
In the present.
In the present. Does anybody have any questions? Mum, you can't request a song. Abigail, do you have anything that you would like to add?
I think I've added enough, really.
You've added enough?
No. Can't think of anything.
You can't think of anything. So I'm just looking through my notes here to see if there's anything that I've missed. Oh, we could do that with people next time. I'm going to show you, probably not tomorrow, maybe on, I won't ask it again. I still haven't looked.
What?
Swallows. My script isn't here. Right, I'm going to play with your minds on Friday, along with another topic which I'll be talking about. But I think otherwise, I think I very much have covered everything. Are there any questions other than the wind speed velocity of a swallow? If not, we've managed to. Where's your stay home speed? Well, we haven't officially finished yet. We're still waiting for questions. We've hit the 30-minute mark.
Mm-hmm.
So if anyone does have any questions, if there's anything that you would like us to cover, then by all means let me know. There is one thing I've noticed about rumination, which is often an issue with these thoughts, is that we latch onto a thought and it just constantly swings back. And a bit like swing ball, you hit the ball and it comes back. You hit the ball and it comes back. That's rumination. Then there's also catastrophizing as well, which is we have a tiny thought. So the example that we've used in the past is, oh, there's a tomato on the table, and if that tomato if someone was to hit the table and the tomato rolled off the floor, then someone might stand on it, and if someone stands on it, they might slip, and if they slip, they might bump their head, and if they bump their head, they might die.
Very extreme.
And that's from a tomato. So that's catastrophizing and also ruminating, just constant thoughts just swinging around. So that's something to be aware of as well. Thank you, Dion. Is there anything else that you would like me to cover? Is there anything else that anyone would like me to cover?
I hope I didn't ruin it for you, Dion.
I don't think you ruined it.
I don't know, Dion.
She said that was great. Good. Everyone seems to be saying goodbye. Mum's requested a song for tomorrow.
Well, you can sing for it, Mum. Do a little sing song. We'll put it on the video. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Tomorrow, I will be going live at a similar time. I'll be with Hannah, who is a therapist. How do you prevent these? Oh, thank you, John. I'll get back to that. Well, I'm into that now. So, how do you prevent these situations from occurring in the first place? The short answer, John, is that you can't. Your thoughts are just going to they're going to be generated. There is nothing we can do to like future-proofing your brain. I wish that I had a wonderful device that I could future-proof brains, but there's going to be thoughts that are just going to happen. Now, a lot of your thoughts are linked to your perception and your perception of life. So they'll be linked to how you were growing up, and
has a huge impact on your childhood. Like ACEs, adverse childhood experiences. I've just done an assignment on it. I could talk to you about that for days.
Yeah. So if you've had experiences in your life up to this certain point now, that's going to frame how your brain reacts to what's going on around you. And our brains are very malleable. They're like it's like Play-Doh essentially. And every time
Pretty gross thought.
But every time we make a decision, it makes a little dent within the brain. And every time that we repeat that same decision, that indent gets deeper and deeper. And what that means is that if we keep on reacting the same way to the same situations, we end up with such an ingrained groove in our brain that as soon as anything comes up that's going to happen, that's similar, not the same, just similar, your brain's decided that the situation is similar to something that's happened before, that ingrain is going to overpower everything. And if you want to understand the brain in a more kind of like easy to read manner, the Chimp Paradox is a great book for talking about the old part of your brain and the new part of your brain, because that flight or fright reaction that we have is
flight, fright, or fight.
That's the one.
Thank you.
So if we're in certain situations and we've always reacted the same way, then that's going to be our default response. So part of ACT and looking at how we increase our ability to deal with life is increasing what's called psychological flexibility. And that's where I Accept comes from, this hoodie that I'm wearing now. Is accepting putting yourself in uncomfortable situations so that when future uncomfortable situations happen, you've already know how to deal with an uncomfortable situation.
You don't always know how to deal with an uncomfortable situation, though.
No, we never do.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
You just said we know how to deal with an uncomfortable situation.
Yeah, we know how to deal with it, but we don't know. So deal with it in the sense that I can put myself there and know that I can figure out how to get out of it, or figure out how to get through it, as opposed to this is a difficult situation.
As Mum says, we're resilient.
Well, and that's
part of it.
Yeah, and that's kind of psychological flexibility in another word, I suppose. That
you get knocked down, you get back up again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Great song. You're going to sing that one out?
Nope.
Um,
I get knocked down, but I get up again. You ain't never gonna keep me down.
It's exactly what Mum had in mind.
Yep.
But going back to John's point, putting yourself in situations that you know you're going to be uncomfortable with. So I'm just laughing at us on the delay there. Putting yourself in a situation that you're comfortable with and getting out of the other side. And instead of focusing on what you did badly, so, oh, I got all sweaty, oh, I didn't know what to say, oh, I didn't know what to do about this, you focus on what you can do. And you focus on, I did that. And
which can be really difficult at the time.
Oh, it's incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
This is why I'm telling people to make an anxious choice to look at the positives that you got out of the
Absolutely,
situation.
that's so important, even if it's minute.
Yeah,
It's
and
important.
you need to celebrate your own little victories, because celebrating and acknowledging those things that you did, you might have done it rubbishly, but at least you did it. And acknowledging that is going to change those grooves in your brain, which means that your perception, when other situations happen, you're going to then be able to say, I dealt with worse than this. I remember auditioning for that show, or going to my first day of work, or I remember when I went to the first day of school and got embarrassed by everybody. But I did it. And I
remember going to one of my first ever job interviews, actually. I just moved to Scotland, felt a little bit isolated, and didn't get the job though. But the feedback was I was the only person that gave eye contact.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, obviously my words weren't very good, but I did give eye contact.
Yeah.
Little bonus.
Exactly, and you've remembered
Little
that now.
plus.
So probably now when you talk to people, you're like,
I'm very conscious. I just stay right out. I'm like, right, how you doing?
Intense Scotswoman.
I do, it's fine.
That's fair enough. So John, I hope that kind of helps answer your question a little bit. You can't future-proof it because your thoughts, they're so randomly generated, and they can be really weird. They can they can be really weird. They can be really perverse, for another
Be a
word.
bit sick, yeah, a bit
really
grim.
sick, really violent, really hard on yourself. There's so many posts going around at the moment about be kind, and then on the flip side, not on the flip side, but on next to that is talk to yourself like you would talk to a friend. And I know it's a very old cliche, but
it's true.
But if you practice that on yourself, then you're going to then your brain's going to get used to the fact that I can overcome anything.
Yeah.
Not easily.
Take over the world.
Take over the world. It's not going to be easy. I remember the first time I did these lives last week, and I was really worried.
Well,
I was really
still
anxious.
feel like an absolute plum doing them.
Well, we are absolute plums, but
This
that
is
doesn't
true.
matter.
No, because it's fun.
Exactly. So we get to be plums. All Disney fans, can you do a version of this? Is this the boy doing different Disney songs, Tom? Because it's amazing. I followed him on Instagram because it's really good. But yeah, he's changed the words to lots of Disney songs to be about COVID-19.
Oh, that's quite funny.
But yeah, even those of us that look switched on, we look like we're smiling all the time. We have a bit of fun when we're with each other. We still have anxiety. We still have blips where we think, I can't do that. I can't do that. And then we do it anyway.
Well, I do sort of SHIT myself when I leave the house at the moment. Like, I'm obsessed with hand washing at the best of times. Let alone this.
Yeah.
This is insane. My hands are dry.
Dry. So John, has that helped? Tom and could.
What?
Okay. Do the Disney thing.
Okay.
Right, just waiting on John. I hope that's helped. The future proofing.
I hope John's still listening.
I hope so, but if not, he can catch it on the rewind.
Hey, we're a pair of plums. Giving it the big plums tonight.
Giving it the big plums. So John, just know, have the confidence in yourself, even if you don't feel you're confident, to put yourself in situations that are uncomfortable deliberately and say, I'm going to do this anyway. And start reframing when you're out of that situation. Start framing it as in, I went in that situation in the first place, as opposed to I was scared for my life, I just wanted to run. Put yourself deliberately in that situation and say, I can do this. Trick yourself into doing it, and then leave, and then make a list of all the things you achieved whilst you were in that uncomfortable situation. And over time, because it is a practice. This isn't something that happens overnight, because there's a lot of life in that brain, which has made those grooves. But over time, they will slowly become more slack, more elastic, and you can start putting your own grooves in, which is amazing.
I think also on another point with overwhelming thoughts is, at the moment we're just sort of sat, even if we're working at home, we're still sat in the same environment. And I think with us, it's definitely helped us have a bit of structure.
Very much so.
In our day. So we get up, we do Joe Wicks, PE.
PE with Joe Wicks.
We work, we have lunch at the same time, we go out in the evening, that's something we look forward to. And I think structure in these really random days is really important as well.
Very much so.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, and with thoughts, getting out into the fresh air is so important. So if you can make use of that time, make that structure, stick to it loosely, as best as you can. Keep your thoughts in check. Be mindful of them.
Talk to people.
You can even acknowledge them. If there's a thought that keeps coming back, just say, "Oh, hello, thought about me being rubbish."
Just do that.
Yeah, you'd be like, "Yeah, no, thanks today. I don't want it."
That's what you could do.
Yeah, and then just turn away, and just let it be there. Just let it hang over you, like the Sims game.
So whatever.
With their emerald green diamonds above their head. Just leave it be there and be like, "Thank you for hanging around, but I'm going to do this thing because that's what I actually wanted to do." And that's a whole other episode about committed action and bits and pieces like that. So yes, it's a new month. There's so much more to be achieved.
Was anyone April fooled? COVID-19 was a joke. Oh, there it is.
We're still locked inside. But yeah, and one thing, I'm going to mention it now because it's the first of the month. What better time to mention it? I've been...
Pinch, punch, first of the month, no returns.
But one thing I'm going to mention, because it's the first of the month, I've been working on something over the last couple of weeks whilst I've been here, making the most of the time. I haven't been musically creative or acting creative, but I have been creative about looking at how I can support other people and how I can support people one-on-one. And I haven't finished it yet, but I will have details about how I can help people on a one-to-one basis, looking at these themes as well and really making it bespoke to your situation and what you're going through. If anyone is interested in having that, then drop me a message.
Slide into the DMs.
Slide into the DMs.
Do that.
Let me know, and as soon as I've got more information about it, I will send you information and we'll take it from there. It's something that we can do.
I could be a little tag along.
Yeah, over Skype, over Zoom. Yeah, you could pay extra for Abigail.
I'm good at motivational stuff. That's my thing.
Yes.
Good at that shiz.
Yeah. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at. We've been talking for 43 minutes.
It's ridiculous.
But thank you so much for all of your comments. If there's anything we've said,
Liz just said as well, I need to do my little end.
Well, we're there. But before you do that, I need to say, if there's someone that you think would benefit from this, tag them in the comments, share this on your page, let them know about Hello Tom Die, let them know about I Accept. I've just introduced some kids t-shirts.
Fantastic.
So if you want your little munchkins running around saying that, what's from the beginning later?
Oh, bless you, Lauren. Good luck.
Oh, of course you have. Thank you for joining us late on, though. But yeah, if you know anyone that wants more information, get them, tag them in the comments, share. Just let everyone know what I'm about, what I Accept is about.
Spread the word. I accept. Spread the word.
I accept. So, no more questions. Take it away, Abs.
Thank you very much. Serious note. Stay at home. Protect the NHS. Save lives. Thank you.
You're extraordinary. Mwah. Bye.
Is it gone?
I don't